Welcome back, students. Now we will see there are different kind of asset classes available in the market. Here we will take the stock fund and bond fund, and we will see their possibility of return under different economic scenarios like severe recession, mild recession, normal growth, and boom. Each probability is being assigned, and the possibility of return for stock fund is given here: minus 37, minus 11, 14, and 30. The possibility of return under different economic scenarios are given for bond fund: minus 9, 15, 8, and minus 5. We will calculate the expected return and the standard deviation variance for stock funds and bond fund, because we are planning to diversify between stock fund and bond fund. Now the question is, what happens with our diversification and how much weight we are investing in each fund, how much percentage we are investing in equity fund or stock fund, how much investment we are making in bond fund. After that, what kind of correlation is there in between them? All these things will go one by one. So let us now first start the expected return from possibility and probability of return. You know, we calculated the expected return. Let us go for the spreadsheet. You open the spreadsheet, upload it in your spreadsheet folder. Here is the spreadsheet which is already uploaded in your folder. Just you see the severe recession, probability 5%, mild recession 25%, normal growth 40%, boom is 30%. These are the probability of return. Now let us go to the stock fund. In the stock fund, you will find the rate of return is minus 37, minus 11, 14, and 30. These are known as possibility of return, and these are the probability of return. When you multiply the probability of return with possibility of return, you get the expected return. So, expected return in severe recession, expected return in mild recession, expected return in normal growth, and boom. Then, when you make the sum total, then you get the expected return of the economy. Once you get the expected return of the economy, what we do, we try to get the deviation from the possibility of return. So, possibility of return is minus 37 during severe recession, mild is minus 11, normal is 14, boom is 30. So, from this return, we will deduct the 10% expected return just we calculated now. Therefore, the deviation column is here: minus 37 minus 10 is equal to minus 47, minus 11 minus 10 is equal to minus 21, minus 14 minus 10 is equal to 4, 30 minus 10 is equal to 20. So we calculated the deviations. Now what we want? We want, for calculating the variance and standard deviation, we don't need this negative signs. Then what we will do? We'll square the deviation. Once we square the deviation, we got all the square deviations, and we have the probability of return. You multiply with the square deviation, like 2209 multiplied by 5%, 110.45. 441 multiplied by probability 25%, 110. Similar way you can do the multiplication of probability along with the square deviation to get the variance. Once you make the sum total, you get the variance. I hope it is clear to all of you. And once you get the variance, you make the square root to get the standard deviation. So this is the way you can get. And another one is, directly we can calculate the standard deviation without using this. here is the standard deviation. We normally use the standard deviation of the sample, then we get the standard deviation of the return. So here the standard deviation of the returns also directly we can calculate without using the kind of expected return. So these are the two ways, and the way standard deviation we have calculated in the last lecture, we have calculated through the formula, and this way we have calculated the through the. Okay. Now question is same we can do for the bond fund. The expected return is given here. The possibility of return is given here. The probabilities are given there. So the expected return will be probability of return multiplied by possibility of return is equal to expected return under severe recession is minus 45. Expected return under mild recession 3.75. Like that, normal growth, and boom, the expected return you calculate, you add them back together, you get the expected return of the economy. You can see expected return of the economy is 10% during the during different economic scenario. For the stock fund, expected return is 10%. For bond fund, expected return is 5%. Same we can calculate the deviation from the possibility of return. Possibility of return is minus 9, minus 5, minus 14, 15, minus 5, 10, 8, minus 5, 3, minus 5, minus 5, minus 10. Then we make the, because we don't need the negative signs, so we square the deviations, then we get the square deviation here. Then what? Next is the multiplication of probability with the square deviation will give you the sum total will give you the variance. Once you square root, you get the standard deviation. This is the way we calculated the standard deviation of the stock fund, which is 18.63, standard deviation of the bond fund, which is 8.27, variance of the stock fund 347, and variance of the bond fund 68.4. And we try to calculate the variance and standard deviation of stock fund and bond fund as the index or the asset class. The asset class stock here is stock fund and bond fund we are targeting. So there we calculated the variance, standard deviation, and the expected return. Just a minute.